Hey guys. Alright, we got the second part of this video ready. And what I'm going to do is go from these very loose layouts to pencils. I'm saying pencils like this because they're still going to be really loose, but they're going to be tight enough for me to just go to ink from. Not tight enough for me to have somebody else ink unless they were somebody like Kevin Nolan who just does their thing on top of your pencils and stuff, you know, or somebody who I was really collaborating with to do finishes. So the first, I'm trusting you watch the first part of the video, which is just the layouts of the page. I have here the character designs. At one point I was calling it humanoid. I don't know. And this was the first sketches. It goes back to 2014. And I sketched this in a sketchbook and then just did these quick colors on here. These were sort of the original character sketches. Don't know what the ninjas are about. I don't know what the elves are about. This might have just been general sketchbooky stuff. You can see here I was trying out different names and stuff, and I was thinking about my Aunt Carol. She was very gentle and very sweet and kind and just without any sort of guile or anything like that. So I was kind of thinking of basing the character sort of on that. These guys are the bad guys that are going to be chasing after her. So these are the first character sketches I had, and these go back, like I said, 2014, maybe 2013. I'm going to pull this over to this other, my secondary monitor over here, just so that I've got good reference, so I could see easily. I'm not sure I need this one really. Yeah, I'll keep it over here. So I'm putting these on my second monitor to just have to look at easy. Another way to do it is to keep it as a smaller window within the main page here. And what that does is it just makes it easier to take a quick gander at if you don't have a secondary monitor. It's just keeping your reference someplace, you know. I've also got pulled up over here where they end up, which is called Göbekli Tepe, which I've mentioned before. These are sort of early recreations of what it looked like at the time. This is what it looks like now. So there are like hundreds of these circles with these stone pillars that were built in circles and stuff in these, and then they buried them. And then they buried them in hills, and then built more ones on top of hills over hundreds of thousands of years, over thousands of years. It's crazy. It's just insane history, and there's a bunch of weird animals and stuff on there. So check that out if you're interested. But anyway, yeah, that's the basic setting. I think I just need the basic shapes right now. I don't think I really need the details. Details will come later in the inks and stuff. Alright, so I think I'm good to go here. So first thing I want to do is on my pencil layer, going to lower the opacity, create another layer. Alright. I'm still using this sort of pencil-y pen, meaning I've got the opacity turned down, so I can kind of still treat it like a pencil. This is sort of a dimensional star, kind of like the thing you'd buy at a craft store, I guess, to put on your wall. It's a weird thing. I've seen this a lot out here in the Northwest. People just take these big tin stars and then put it on their garage or something. switching back and forth between my glasses because I'm old. Okay. That's the space shape. I want to make sure that I'm giving this good variation, so I think that's pretty good. And again, one of the things I love doing is programming my pen, so this is the back tool. So I'm not using too many shortcuts on my keyboard. For whatever reason, I like to keep my other hand free instead of on the keyboard doing a bunch of shortcuts and stuff. I admire people who can do that. I just never trained myself to use shortcuts much on the keyboard, or at least not to the point that it's comfortable or secondary nature or whatever, you know. Little Christmas stars there. What were these circles? What was I thinking when I did that? Oh, captions. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of caption placement. Okay, Christmas stars. Another real star here. This will be the panel border. I'm just going to do full bleeds on these, meaning they're going to go all the way to the edge of the art's going to go all the way to the edge of the pages. Okay. Now the star is going to open up. Pardon me. Go. A little closer on the star. So this section of the star here opens up. What an odd shape this is. I'm not sure if I even captured that 100% correctly, but that's okay. The shape, like once the shape changes because it's being opened like that, not exactly sure how it would look. I'm gonna guess like this. No, hold on. That part feels right. It would go like this. It's just shorter on this side, right? Alright, I guess that's good. Alright, now I'm looking at her gloves here. There's black back here. Sort of gas around the edges. Gas, space clouds. It's funny, you can't see it here, but sometimes I have this habit of touching the screen trying to move stuff because I work a lot on my iPad, and the way you move the screen around the iPad when you're working in Clip Studio is you still use your fingers, so sometimes I keep doing that. I'm going to allow this star to sort of overlap this part of the page, the panel here, panel border. Because again the zigzag pattern, so the eye is going left to right, right down to the bottom, and then because this overlaps the panel border, it again, it just helps inform the eye to come this way. I mean, your eye is naturally doing that, but you want the art to make you feel like your eye is caught in a river, like it's pulling you along the correct path. It's not like if that doesn't happen, if I didn't do the overlap there, or if that panel was turned a different way, like you'd be lost. You wouldn't be lost. But it's that nanosecond of just constant flow of the eye versus panel, okay, panel, okay, panel. You want to go whoosh, whoosh. It's the best way I could explain it. You want whoosh, not Alright, so let's have some more fun. Let's get closer down to here. We're seeing her for the first time. She has kind of a diamond shape head. It's kind of wide, sharp chin, big old ears, cute little nose, and solid black almond shaped eyes. I am not sketching that out great, but okay. It's pretty good. Kind of based on Taki, super loosely. Her eyebrows are kind of placed high above her, like they're not really close to her eyes like mine are. So that's something I'm doing with the character here too. She doesn't really have an up nose. She's got kind of a Taki shaped nose. See, turning the page here is really fun and useful. So I've also got the zoom. This is a program, so this is the zoom in the front. This is step back. So I got to be closer. Step back, and then this is zoom. Zoom in and out. Super useful. And she is just happy to be outside. I'm also excited to ink this when I get to it because I haven't inked on traditional paper in a while, and I'm going to ink this on paper and pretty much all in pen. And I also want to keep it loose. The inking is going to be very loose, kind of sketchy. I think my dog is barking at a cat in the backyard, but that's fine. Alright, see how this is coming together. Gotta be careful with the shoulders because she's not like a teenager or anything like that yet, so keep her shoulders not too broad. I like to go, especially in this kind of cartoonier style I'm doing here. Sometimes, you know, you gotta move, figure out how your character's looking. It's kind of weird. Anyway, with little kid characters, I like to draw really big hands. A little disproportionate, you know, because kids aren't fully proportional yet. It's what makes them kids when you draw them. This get tricky. The design around her neck area. It's going to take me a while to get used to. I mean, I designed this character a long time ago, right? So it's not super easy to remember exactly what I was going for at the time. There we go. That's starting to look and feel like her. The snake character is fun because of shapes. How do I explain? This is like a stretch and pull idea for this character, the snake character. I want him to look or kind of feel like taffy. So you could, so this is not the best example of it, but here, like, his neck is coming down, and then when it goes back up again, I've got it going thinner again, and then it gets wide. So it's kind of wide here, wide vertically, thin horizontally, then wide again. I don't know if any of that makes sense. Okay. I'm try and get the shape correctly here. It's kind of like this, right? That's the shape of the star thing. Well, I can't figure it out right now, the exact shape of the star this close up. So what I'll end up doing is I'm going to grab this, put it behind here, and that way I'll have all those shapes and proportions down correctly. Like the star shape, the three-dimensional star. Oh, I like that phrase, three-dimensional star. Maybe that's what I'll call this. People often say, where do your ideas come from? And I actually have an answer for that. Usually it's one of those questions that creators hate because it sounds like people are looking for sort of like a magic formula or like a special tool or, you know, some sort of trick that you get your ideas from. Honestly, most of my ideas just come from listening. I just hear a phrase, and that phrase will then trigger an idea. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but just listen to music. A lot of times I'll hear a phrase or a sentence, or just like I said there, three-dimensional star. Like, oh, that sounds interesting. I think the other day, Taki and I had said something, and somehow the phrase "the sound of blood" came up, and then that sounds great. The sound of blood. That's like a great noir title, right? And sometimes that'll generate an idea. Why is there a sound of blood? Or is it symbolic of something that's the sound of blood? Or sometimes I won't have any idea from it, but I just like the phrase, and then I'll write the phrase down, the sound of blood. And then it'll just sit there for years. You know, I've got, maybe 10 years or longer. I've got this list of all my comic creations that I put together, all of my concepts and ideas that are workable. And, some of them are just titles like that, Anyway. Keep your ears open. You're always going to get ideas that way. But that's it. So that was my layout. My layout. This is my pencils. Like I said, I'm going to grab this star here. So I couldn't quite figure out how to draw this down here. So I'm going to just copy. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Copy. I should use a shortcut for that. But like I said, I have weird habits. Edit copy, edit paste. Okay, Control T. Now I am using a shortcut. Although even for this, I don't need to use a shortcut. There's a tool here I can use that's just changes the sizes of things for you. Yeah, that looks about right. So I'm lowering that opacity so I can see it more clearly. And then I'm going to get rid of this stuff to just make it easier to see. And it's funny, I just couldn't really see how that shape would work. So yeah, I just had to grab it from above and bring it down there. There we go. And then that'll be black back here. Normally I don't do this, but I'm going to do this just for fun and create another layer. Oh, I need multiple references. And just quickly drop in black here. Just for you guys. It makes it easier for you to see what I'm intending to do. And then there's some spots here where I did not intend it to fill in black. Oops. Just delete it, and then I'm going to lower that down like that. Makes it a little easier to see. So we went from this layout, which is in another set of videos if you haven't watched it, and then bam. These are the pencils. So this I'm just going to print out and ink and pen. I could easily do it in right here. I mean, it feels like this would probably take me 20 minutes to finish if I wanted to. But I really want to draw this in pen. But maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Or maybe I'll do both. It'd be a good exercise, right? And just compare the two. So here's the second page. Let's lower the opacity. Create another level, and I mean another layer. Let's start with our head. Try and draw this costume correctly. Ugh. Maybe I'll get her form down first. Excuse me. It's funny, the first time I drew this, it felt like I knew exactly how to draw her costume. Now it's a little more of a struggle. Just take practice, I guess. In case you're wondering, I'm listening to music as I draw because that's mostly what I do, kind of what I need. Music is a good motivator. But I can't really play it while I'm doing this because like Twitch or whatever I'm loading it onto, like it can hear copyrighted music and then it won't load it. Her arm here is just way too short compared to the other one, so I gotta make it a little bigger. Anyway, so I'm listening right now to Bloc Party. It's a British band that I like. Keep her hand kind of fun and expressive here. The thumb lines up with the arm, so this creates a nice flow here. This creates another nice flow for the other arm. So her body has this sort of A shape to it right now. It's the composition of her pose creates this A shape. So her arms are almost literally pointing towards her face. That's something it's hard to keep track of. You will eventually, it'll come second nature to you is using composition and everything, not just the page, not just the panel, but even the way the body flows and the way the body is shaped. I didn't even think about that until I just pointed it out to you guys. It's not like I'm so good. It's just, I've been doing it for 30 years. And when you do something long enough, it just becomes second nature, like somebody who can play piano or speak another language or anything like that, And you guys probably already have stuff like that in your arsenal of work tricks, like that you might not even be aware of, that you do correctly already. A little Satan. Or Lewis, as in Lucifer. Yes, I mean, she's kind of like the children of angels or cosmic creators or whatever, and then this dude is a sort of lovable evil character. Not that I'm going to make him somebody that you... I don't believe in making evil seem good in any way. It's a trickster character. It's a children's story. It's not meant to be literal or anything. I think sometimes we think too hard about these things. Like I was watching Sabrina, Teenage Witch on Netflix, and I was just in hysterics of like how deep into actual evil and Satan worshipping they went with their main characters. Like, it was funny to me. It was just because it's so abstract and just insane, I can't imagine anybody wanting to become a Satan worshiper from watching the show, but it's just hysterical, like how brazen it is. And 20 years ago that would have been such a huge, crazy thing to do that network people would have gotten fired over and stuff, and now it doesn't mean anything anymore. Hopefully, because we're getting less superstitious about such things. I'm not an atheist either. I believe in God and good and evil, but I don't think we know shit. And I don't know. I guess that's a whole other conversation. Just gonna sketch in her contrast here because I'm still not super used to the costume. So I want to... Yeah, I'll give her a belt. I wasn't sure if I was going to draw her belt and tools on her, but I think that'll just be interesting. There's white there, and this is black. There we go. Right now the Shins are playing on my ear, and the Shins have a lot of great nonsense lyrics. There's this phrase, the Dodo's Conundrum. Again, hearing a phrase like that can just create stories in your head. Music is a great place to get inspiration from. In fact, when I was writing Hammer of the Gods, but more specifically when I was writing Thor for Marvel, I actually wrote in a lot of like Led Zeppelin lyrics as dialogue, because it was influential to me, and it created a sense of wonder and a sense of something. So I pulled that inspiration into the dialogue. Okay. So I created the star in another layer just so that I can draw those lines without really interrupting myself, and then I'll just quickly erase them. By interrupt myself, I mean interrupt the flow of the line. Like, this way I could just kind of draw it. And also... shit, no, I still need that door. Yeah, I need that door still. Shit. Okay. Pardon me. Okay. Okay, so some drawing on the star level here. And the proportion of the star is changing and stuff. I think that's fine. So here's the open door part. But actually, since I drew it separately on another panel, it's going to be super easy to just, let's just grab it, Control T. I either Control T, which grabs the proportions, and there's also, let me get out of there. There's also this tool up here, right here, Scale, and it does the same thing. There we go. Look at that. Bam. Alright, now I'm going to just get rid of all the parts I don't need. I need to tool settings for the selection. Where the fuck did I go? Oh, down here. Okay, I'm gonna do panel borders. And then Photoshop is called stroke, and here it just says select outline. Boom. I'm gonna be drawing all this in hand drawn anyway, but for now it's just easy peasy to do it like that. Plus then I won't have to use a ruler later because I'm going to do it freehand, but then this will be straight enough to really help guide me. Alright, so let's get into the snake character again. I'm going to have to play around with the snake to figure out how I exactly want to draw him. I don't know if I want to do pupils or not. Maybe we'll get rid of his pupils completely. I don't know. I'll figure this out when I'm making it. You know, I'll just do some more reference. And I got my other sketches over here of the snake. I mean, I really like this sort of super basic, you know, really just sketchy kind of snake. I don't think I need details like his eye. It kind of looks weird actually. So let's just get rid of the pupils. And I wonder if lids will look fun. Yeah, it makes them look a little more creepy. She's got a little triangle nose, just like Taki. Snakes here. You know, and this is nice and sketchy. I don't need it to be like all tight. So I'm going to ink over this. And I know what I'm going for. She's supposed to be looking over her shoulder. Hopefully that will look like that when this is done. Alright, so that's the layout. That's the inks. And that is page 2. Page 2 pencils. We're going to go all the way through. We're going to do all 5 pages of pencils here. But it's super easy. I mean, they're in space. You know, the background is a star. Maybe another star will be back here. You know, it's not hard. Okay, so that's page 2. Oh, Control Save. Desktop. I'll just save it as that. Ah, shit. I have to save this in Photoshop as a Photoshop file. And I'm not naming it right now. I'm just saving the template because on the desktop because I'm lazy. Alright, so that's page 2. Here's 3. This will be a little more fun. I think I drew her head too big in this panel because it'd be kind of weird that she's being cut off right at the nose. So I'm going to, finish drawing her. Just on her own layer. And I really want to squish this eye since we're looking at her kind of 3/4. Three-quarters behind her. There's Lewis. That's just supposed to be a little shimmer of light. So while this might seem like super abstract here with just this shape here, when I color it, it's going to make sense because the star is going to be yellow. So this space here is going to be all in yellow, and then this will be black, and it'll be really clear what you're looking at. Whereas here it's not super clear. I think that's probably good. Okay. So I'm going to repeat the panel here, so I'm just doing that. I'm going to play around with it a little bit. Also because I'll be inking it, you know, like I said, traditionally, I'm not going to repeat the inks, I'm just going to copy and repeat these pencils here. It's just the shot I'm repeating, but I'm going to, when I actually ink it, it'll have like a whole other life to it, and it'll look a little different. So it'll be like a static shot, but it's not going to feel like it was just replaced by, or repeated, like paste, cut and paste, you know. I'll just leave that line there. I don't care. Control E to put these two together. Okay. I'm going to create another layer here to sketch out this character that's pursuing them, which is this dude. No, wait, I don't need that at all, do I? I'm not even using my breakdown there of that really loose pencil thing. This thing. I'm not even going to use that. I'm just drawing this fresh. I apologize if my if I'm just sort of rambling a little bit, but I'm thinking at the same time I'm drawing, so that's going to happen, you know. So I'm drawing a little, indicating this little V shape here, and then this is going to be like a sparkle of light, and then as it gets closer, that V shape carries from this panel into this panel, so it creates this nice flow. I do like the hands here. And the pose that he's reaching out. Kind of thinking if I want to give him 6 fingers or not. Because that's this sort of weird arcane biblical thing about some creatures with 6 arms or 6 fingers. I'm not sure if they were supposed to be giants or fallen angels or what. I'm not sure, but I think I'm just going to keep it easy, keep it simple, stick with what I know, which is 5 fingers. I want the head helmet thing on him to be big, but I might have gone too big. Oh, shit, I forgot. On his helmet of these kind of V-shaped scowl, sort of like vents that also look like a little scowl. Okay, but I want to make his head a little smaller, so let's just grab all of it. That's still pretty big, but it's not like, I feel like it got too big before. And believe it or not, that is that page penciled. And just real quick for fun, I will throw in some black here. Okay, lower this opacity and then take out spots where it doesn't need to be. And there you go. This is the next page is penciled. Again, super easy. This is more about storytelling than, you know, technical aspects or writing the story or anything like that, you know. Wait, is that the... No. What did I do wrong here? So that should be... Still trying to figure out the costume. So these guys chasing her have a similar thing going on. Okay. That's that. So what page was this? This is page 3. Page 4, here we go. Lower the opacity, create a new layer. Get in here, start drawing the character. Her proportions here are a little long. It's a little closer to like almost a teenage proportions. I want to keep her younger. So Taki once noticed that I draw, or when I do kind of like kid stories or younger stuff, fantasy, fairy tale stuff, I often cast my main character as a girl, a little girl. And, you know, she's worried about the similarities between characters and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of there. But one of the reasons why I often draw stories about girls versus boys is because of the nature of the story. I had a interesting childhood, but it's full of all kinds of different forms of like abuse and depression and just some fucked up shit. So if I'm writing a story about fucked up kids and a little darker story, then I go boy, because that's my experience. If I'm trying to do something fun and innocent, I go girl, because I wasn't a girl, I didn't have sisters, and my childhood experiences as a boy were kind of dark. So good way for me to it's just hard for me to write like happy boy stuff, you know. Sorry if that's depressing. But I'm happier now. I'm working on it a long time. Maybe one day draw a story about happy boys. Even though her body feels a little too long there, but because this is a tall panel and she's leaping down, I think it works. It's okay. I'm stretching out her body more than it should be, you know. Okay, so let's go back to the star. Just gonna close the door. Okay. Alright, that is indication of the light that's down there. Let's make the panel borders real quick. Stroke outline. Okay, done. Here's a little skydiving kind of pose I was talking about. This will be fun, hopefully. She's having fun, so who cares if she's hurtling to earth to die. I guess in a way it reminds me of one of my favorite books ever. It's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when the whale is falling to earth and he's just so innocent and lacking any sort of guile or jadedness or anything like that, and he's totally like, hey, what is that? I think I'll call it the ground. I wonder if I can make friends with it. Just great stuff, right? I mean, of course he smashes into it and dies, but still great stuff. There's a snake. I want to... Alright, so this will be... So basically what I'm doing here is his body is going to be thicker horizontally, thinner vertically. as if going down is pulling everything like that, and then widening everything that's horizontal. If that makes any sense. Star, boom, boom. On the star, I need to indicate a little shape here. Very small. It'll be super tiny when I draw that too. Just a little indication of a path of falling here. Here comes the Earth. Hello, my friend. Let's make friends with the Earth and explode. Okay. Now here she is breaking into the Earth's atmosphere. So I think the way to show that is to kind of have this explosion happening right on the horizon. I think I'll try to letter this hand-wise. I don't know. Let's go boom. Boom is my favorite sound effect. You know, I grew up on Walt Simonson sound effects with John Workman, the letterer. And he used great onomatopoeias. Boom. Doom was my favorite, of course. Doom for anything was just so badass. And then, of course, Mignola used lots of boom sound effects. It was always fun. And Hellboy. And I'm simple-minded, so I like boom, doom, thoom. Okay, so let's indicate, here's the star. And then, uh-oh, they're being followed. Let's turn her around. She's got her belt with her stuff in it. It's like a Z or V shape in the middle. V shape there. Hey, get out of here. This isn't going to go well. My cat's over here. I can tell he wants attention. He's going to pull on wires and stuff. We'll see. Okay. Alright, so she's got the snake in her left hand. That's all we need. Look at this. Done. Okay. Just for you guys, I'm going to pop in some black here. Just lower that around 20 or 30, and then I'm just going to cut out the spots. I was going to flatten. I shouldn't have flattened these on the other ones because I don't want. When I print this out, I don't need to waste all this ink to lightbox it. or to do it in a blue line printout, however I'm going to do it. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to flatten those two. I'm going to leave it there. Because when I print like these out, I realize I have to print out the whole thing, so this is just wasted ink and stuff, which is why I typically don't do it. Oh, that's always fun to look at too, is what the negative space looks like. Anyway. Alright, so that's that page. Boom. Look. Layout, pencils. Inks will be easy. Shit, I mean, I could have almost just inked it right there, just straight into inks. Alright, last page. Page 5. Let's lower the opacity. Add another panel there. I'm going to grab my Göbekli Tepe references. These T-shaped pillars are pretty weird. Alright, I apologize to all my archaeologist friends because I'm going to just kind of wing this. But, maybe I'll put some links too for some... I have a friend, somebody I know, his name is Jens, and he has actually worked at this archaeological site, which is amazing. It's so cool that somebody I kind of know. Has worked there. Just give him a little staff thing. I don't really know what's going on here. I'm making it up, right? So let's see, this woman is looking up. I would imagine it'd be a little more sophisticated than what I'm drawing here. I'm kind of drawing them as I guess megalithic, right? They're just beyond Stone Age. They're doing a little bit more than that, but they're still pretty. I'm guessing they would still be pretty basic is the wrong word. A bunch of basic bitches is what they were. No, primitive. That's the word I'm looking for. And I don't think they sat around fires in the middle of these temples. They were used for important stuff, not for just hanging out like I've got these cats. Grab a larger pen here, just kind of doing a ground level view of things. As the light is coming off of them in perspective here. I'm going to lay down some shadows, just a little bit, just to indicate a little bit more of the light source being from this full fire here. Which is obvious, and I really don't even have to do it, but it's so quick to just, quickly lay down some stuff like that. Alright, I'm going to look at these T-shaped pillars again. And again, I totally apologize to my archaeologist friends for the way I'm doing this. Actually, this is something I'd really enjoy doing, is to do a a fictional story around or about Göbekli Tepe. Fictional, not fantasy. Kind of like historic fiction, you know. There were rough laid out bricks. I think we believe these were enclosed, so this would actually have like a cover on it with a hole at the top. I think. But let's just say this was in the middle of being made. And I think that's probably good enough. No, there are a bunch of carvings and stuff on these. But I think I'll do the actual carvings later. We're almost near the end, dudes. Alright, now I'm going to do... yeah. Trying to think if I want to put clouds back here or anything. I'll probably do something in like the coloring to indicate like clouds or atmosphere or something. Alright, that's that. So let's have a layer here real quick. Just lay down some black. Lower that way down. There we go. There we go. All done. That's a 5-page comic drawn in, I don't know, probably hour and a half, I'm guessing. So we got page, let's walk through it all. Script? Let's see if we stuck to the script. Yeah, we stuck to the script. Alright, it's page 1 layouts, page 1 pencils. Page 2 layouts. Let's get down. Let's do this large for you guys. Sorry. Alright, page 1 layouts. Page 1 inks. Sorry, page 1 pencils. Page 2 layouts. Page 2 pencils. Page 3 layouts. Page 3 pencils. Page 4 layouts. Page 5 pencils. 4, I meant. Page 5 layouts. There you go. That's that. So what I'm going to do next is I will print these out and do inks. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to tackle those videos because, like I said, I don't have this kind of split screen setup or anything like that for my traditional inks, which is how I want to ink this. So I'm probably just have to record it on my iPhone and work with that. Anyway, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed sitting with me through the creation of writing to penciling a 5-page story. And then inks will be next. Hope you guys like. Thanks.